Verses 41 to 48. When they saw his hands and his feet, yet they knew not what to say, they believed not for joy, and wondered. v. 41. It was their infirmity that they believed not, that yet they believed not, eti apistoun to en auto and they as yet being unbelievers. This very much corroborates the truth of Christ's resurrection, that the disciples were so slow to believe it. Instead of stealing away his body, and saying, "He is risen," when he is not, as the chief priests suggested they would do, they are ready to say again and again, "He is not risen," when he is. Their being incredulous of it at first, and insisting upon the utmost proofs of it, show that when afterwards they did believe it, and venture their all upon it, it was not but upon the fullest demonstration of the thing that could be. But, though it was their infirmity, yet it was an excusable one, for it was not from any contempt of the evidence offered them that they believed not, but, first, they believed not for joy, as Jacob, when he was told that Joseph was alive, they thought it too good news to be true. When the faith and hope are therefore weak because the love and desires are strong, that weak faith shall be helped, and not rejected. Secondly, they wondered, they thought it not only too good, but too great, to be true, forgetting both the Scriptures and the power of God. For their further conviction and encouragement, he called for some meat. He sat down to meat with the 2 disciples at Emmaus, but it is not said that he did eat with them. Now, lest that should be made an objection, he here did actually eat with them and the rest, to show that his body was really and truly returned to life, though he did not eat and drink, and converse constantly, with them, as he had done, and as Lazarus did after his resurrection, who not only returned to life, but to his former state of life, and to die again, because it was not agreeable to the economy of the state he was risen to. They gave him a piece of a broiled fish, and of a honeycomb. v. 42. The honeycomb, perhaps, was used as sauce to the broiled fish, for Canaan was a land flowing with honey. This was mean fare, yet, if it be the fare of the disciples, their master will fare as they do, because in the kingdom of our Father they shall fare as he does, shall eat and drink with him in his kingdom. The insight he gave them into the Word of God, which they had heard and read, by which faith in the resurrection of Christ is wrought in them, and all the difficulties are cleared. He refers them to the word which they had heard from him when he was with them, and puts them in mind of that as the angel had done. v. 44. These are the words which I said unto you in private, many a time, while I was yet with you. We should better understand what Christ does, if we did but better remember what he hath said, and had but the art of comparing them together. He refers them to the word they had read in the Old Testament, to which the word they had heard from him directed them, all things must be fulfilled which were written. Christ had given them this general hint for the regulating of their expectations, that whatever they found written concerning the Messiah, in the Old Testament, must be fulfilled in him, what was written concerning his sufferings as well as what was written concerning his kingdom, these God had joined together in the prediction, and it could not be thought that they should be put asunder in the event. All things must be fulfilled, even the hardest, even the heaviest, even the vinegar. He could not die till he had that, because he could not till then say, "It is finished." The several parts of the Old Testament are here mentioned, as containing each of them things concerning Christ, the law of Moses, that is, the Pentateuch, or the 5 books written by Moses the prophets, containing not only the books that are purely prophetical, but those historical books that were written by prophetical men, the Psalms, containing the other writings, which they called the Hagiographa. See in what various ways of writing God did of old reveal his will, but all proceeded from one and the self-same Spirit, who by them gave notice of the coming and kingdom of the Messiah, for to him bore all the prophets witness, by an immediate present work upon their minds, of which they themselves could not but be sensible. He gave them to apprehend the true intent and meaning of the Old Testament prophecies of Christ, and to see them all fulfilled in him. Then opened he their understanding, that they might understand the Scriptures. v. 45. In his discourse with the 2 disciples he took the veil from off the text, by opening the Scriptures. Here he took the veil from off the heart, by opening the mind. Observe here, that Jesus Christ by his Spirit operates on the minds of men, on the minds of all that are his. He has access to our spirits, and can immediately influence them. It is observable how he did now after his resurrection give a specimen of those two great operations of his Spirit upon the spirits of men, his enlightening the intellectual faculties with a divine light, when he opened the understandings of his disciples, and his invigorating the active powers with a divine heat, when he made their hearts burn within them. Even good men need to have their understandings opened, for though they are not darkness, as they were by nature, yet in many things they are in the dark. David prays, "Open mine eyes. Give me understanding." And Paul, who knows so much of Christ, sees his need to learn more. Christ's way of working faith in the soul, and gaining the throne there, is by opening the understanding to discern the evidence of those things that are to be believed. Thus he comes into the soul by the door, while Satan, as a thief and a robber, climbs up some other way. The design of opening the understanding is that we may understand the Scriptures, not that we may be wise above what is written, but that we may be wiser in what is written, and may be made wise to salvation by it. The Spirit in the Word and the Spirit in the heart say the same thing. Christ's scholars never learn above their Bibles in this world, but they need to be learning still more and more out of their Bibles, and to grow more ready and mighty in the Scriptures. That we may have right thoughts of Christ, and have our mistakes concerning him rectified, there needs no more than to be made to understand the Scriptures. The instructions he gave them as apostles, who were to be employed in setting up his kingdom in the world. They expected, while their master was with them, that they should be preferred to posts of honor, of which they thought themselves quite disappointed when he was dead. "No," saith he, "you are now to enter upon them, you are to be witnesses of these things." v. 48. To carry the notice of them to all the world, not only to report them as matter of news, but to assert them as evidence given upon the trial of the great cause that has been so long depending between God and Satan, the issue of which must be the casting down and casting out of the prince of this world. You are fully assured of these things yourselves, you are eye and ear witnesses of them. Go, and assure the world of them, and the same Spirit that has enlightened you shall go along with you for the enlightening of others. Now here they are told what they must preach. They must preach the gospel, must preach the New Testament as the full accomplishment of the Old, as the continuation and conclusion of divine revelation. They must take their Bibles along with them, especially when they preached to the Jews, nay, and Peter, in his first sermon to the Gentiles, directed them to consult the prophets, Acts 10:43, and must show people how it was written of old concerning the Messiah, and the glories and graces of his kingdom, and then must tell them how, upon their certain knowledge, all this was fulfilled in the Lord Jesus. The great gospel truth concerning the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ must be published to the children of men, v. 46. Thus it was written in the sealed book of the divine counsels from eternity, the volume of that book of the covenant of redemption, and thus it was written in the open book of the Old Testament, among the things revealed, and therefore thus it behoved Christ to suffer, for the divine counsels must be performed, and care taken that no word of God fall to the ground. Go, and tell the world, first, that Christ suffered, as it was written of him. Go, preach Christ crucified, be not ashamed of his cross, not ashamed of a suffering Jesus. Tell them what he suffered, and why he suffered, and how all the Scriptures of the Old Testament were fulfilled in his sufferings. Tell them that it behoved him to suffer, that it was necessary to the taking away of the sin of the world, and the deliverance of mankind from death and ruin, nay, it became him to be perfected through sufferings, Hebrew 2:10. Secondly, that he rose from the dead on the third day, by which not only all the offense of the cross was rolled away, but he was declared to be the Son of God with power, and in this also the Scriptures were fulfilled, see 1 Cor 15:3, 4, Go, tell the world how often you saw him after he rose from the dead, and how intimately you conversed with him. Your eyes see, as Joseph said to his brethren, when his discovering himself to them was as life from the dead, that it is my mouth that speaketh unto you, General 45:12. Go, and tell them, then, that he that was dead is alive, and lives for evermore, and has the keys of death and the grave. The great gospel duty of repentance must be pressed upon the children of men. Repentance for sin must be preached in Christ's name, and by his authority. v. 47. All men everywhere must be called and commanded to repent. Acts 17:30. Go, and tell all people that the God that made them, and the Lord that bought them, expects and requires that, immediately upon this notice given, they turn from the worship of the gods that they have made to the worship of the God that made them, and not only so, but from serving the interests of the world and the flesh, they must turn to the service of God in Christ, must mortify all sinful habits, and forsake all sinful practices. Their hearts and lives must be changed, and they must be universally renewed and reformed.